Hi developers, welcome back to the channel. Debugging can be one of the trickiest parts of development, but with the right tools and techniques, you can turn it into a smooth experience. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to debug Node.js application like a pro. Whether you are new to Node.js or an experienced dev, stick around because I will share some game-changing tips. Let's dive in. So let's start with why debugging is important. Debugging isn't just about fixing bugs. It's about understanding your code, finding optimization, and making sure your app runs smoothly. A good debugging process saves time and frustration. Let's begin with the most basic method, which is console.log. It's the go-to for most developers and it's great for quick checks. So let's see our test case. Now, if we look at this code base, we have a function which is calculate average. So what it's doing here is that it takes a couple of numbers, an array of number, then it calculates the average using this for loop, and then add it together using this for loop, then take the average, that's the total divided by the frequency, and it returns the average. So if we, and that's basically the code. So this is where we are instantiating the code. Now if we run this application right now, index.js, you can see that we are getting an error, not a number. So we are not quite sure where the error is coming from, because from our code base here on line 3 we already asserted that if the number is not an array, we should throw an error, but then it's an array here. So how do we solve it? So the quickest way to solve it is just to see what are the numbers that we have in there. So one of the ways we can come here, do console.log. So we want to see the numbers that we are passing here. Now if we do it like this and run it again, so you can see that we are having the correct number, but then we are not still sure where the error is coming from. So we might need to go into this loop and put a console log there, and that's the process of troubleshooting or debugging an application. So you step through the code and you until you find where the bug is. So here we can say, okay, number, what's the number? Then we say numbers at I, then we save it. Then we can do node index.js again. So I think now we have found where the error is. You can see, so it's outputting the number 10, 20, 30, 40. Then there's another one, undefined. So I'm not sure we have undefined in our array, and that's where the error is coming from. So, and if we look critically at this loop, so we find out that in this loop we are doing let I equals to 0, I is less than or equals to numbers.length. So if you know numbers.length is the last number, so here we are not supposed to use equals to, and that's where the error is coming from. So how do we know? Because we are able to know that it's outputting undefined, which means after running the last one, it's still, which is 50, it's still running another one again after 50. So that's why how we are going to have, able to know. So if I now save it, index.js, so you can now see that we have a correct response. Now average is 50, and that's how you use console.log to troubleshoot or debug an application. So now let's assume you decide not to use console.log, or this is a much more complex application and console.log wouldn't be a, a good option, because if you put console.log in an application after you have run the application and you have troubleshooted it, you have to clean up all the console.log and it could be cumbersome. Another method you can use that is very intuitive and straightforward is if you are using Node.js. you can go to the sidebar and click on Run and Debug, then click on Create Launch File, select Node.js, and it will generate a .vs Code file and a launch.json file inside that folder. So, and this is it. This is what it will generate. So once you have this, you can click on this, and then you have this button over here. But before you do that button, then you can add a breakpoint. So by the side of the number line, the number you click on it, so you have a red dot there, and that's the breakpoint. So once you click on launch, it will launch. So from here you can inspect your variable. So if I hover my mouse over the number, so you can see I have my numbers, and then on the right you can see I have this little thing right here. So I can use this to step over. So as I'm stepping over, I'm looking at the values of the different variables. I can go on and on. Now after I finish that, then I can see the value. So here you can see that the total is not a number, so which means something is wrong with this loop. So now I know where the error is, so I can go properly into the loop and see what the error is, and from there I can know what the value where the issue is. So here if I rerun it again, let me do this, let me relaunch it again, then I want to come into this place. So by the way, you can use this first to continue, the second one to step over, step into, and step out, and the other buttons. So if I click on this, I can inspect the value of I. So I is 0. So now since I know that we have 5 items in our array, so if I loop through it, if I continue to do this, so number at 3, so which means this third number 0, 1, 2, 3. So number at 4, so the number at 4 should be 50. So now, and then if I go once again, so the number at 5, so which means there is no number at 5. You can see we only have 4 items in the variable starting from 0, so there is no number at 5. So and that's where the error is coming. So number at 5 is undefined, and that's what's making total to be not a number, and that's where the error is. So here we know what to do. We fix it by making it less than numbers.length, and we can do that, save, and relaunch our application, launch our program, do that. Then I can come here, skip over this, and here I have 150. So the number is correct, number.length divided by 55, and that's how I have the average of 30. You can see this one is very straightforward, very intuitive, and you have more control over it, and at the end of the day you don't have to be clearing console.log in your code. So my final tip is to write clean, organized code. If your code is well structured and logically grouped, it's easier to debug. Comments, clear variable names, and modular functions makes it much easier to understand what's going on when a bug arises. And there you have it, debugging Node.js like a pro, from console.log to the VS Code debugger. These tools will help you save time and tackle bugs with confidence. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more tips on improving your developer workflow. Thanks for watching. Peace. Dr. Tog.